Welcome everyone to my channel, Books Taught Me. Ever feel like your memory's getting worse? You try reading a book, but 2 lines in, your brain checks out and your hand's already reaching for your phone? According to the Shallows, it's not just a bad habit, it's a brain shift. The internet is literally rewiring how we think. In this video, we'll break down how constant screen time and endless scrolling mess with your focus, memory, and ability to think deeply. But don't worry. We'll also give you real practical tips to help you get your mind back. Why did Nicholas Carr write this book? Nicholas Carr begins The Shallows with a powerful personal observation. He realized he could no longer focus or read deeply like he used to. He writes, "I can't read long books the way I used to. My mind wanders, my eyes jump across the lines, and I lose patience quickly." This personal experience led him to ask a profound question. Is the internet changing the way my brain works? This question became the driving force behind the entire book. Carr started researching the impact of the internet on our brains, connecting his own experience with findings from neuroscience and cognitive psychology, only to discover that what was happening to him is happening to all of us. Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity can be defined as the brain's incredible ability to change and adapt throughout life, mainly through the formation and reorganization of neural connections in response to experiences, learning, and different environmental changes. This process allows the brain to rewire itself, learn new skills, and adapt to various challenges. Author Nicholas Carr says that the brain doesn't just have flexibility, it has a very high level of flexibility. Neuroplasticity means the brain is constantly changing. This concept is very important because it turns the traditional view upside down, the old idea that the brain becomes fixed after childhood and that a person cannot change their mental abilities. The author believes that the internet is the most powerful tool that has reshaped the brain so far. He says that one of the internet's biggest problems is the idea of rapid browsing, constant distraction, and instant response to stimuli. These habits reshape the brain to remain fast and reactive all the time, constantly jumping to respond quickly to everything it encounters. Over time, this leads the brain to prefer speed and avoid depth and reflection. The author refers to a brain imaging study showing that internet users have constant stimulation in areas of decision-making and visual motor coordination, while activity in the memory and critical thinking areas is significantly reduced. In short, the brain becomes what it repeatedly does. The more a person uses the internet, quickly jumping from one link to another, the more the brain turns into a shallow tool and the more the brain begins to rot. Superficial browsing. A very important question that most people who follow this channel keep asking. Every time we post a video or go live, we always receive this recurring question. Why can't I concentrate when reading? Why don't I enjoy books? Why can't I read a book and stay focused for a long time? The author says that a major shift has occurred from the concept of deep reading to superficial browsing. Superficial browsing is also a form of reading, but in a completely different way. What happened is that deep reading, which developed alongside the spread of books, taught people a certain cognitive pattern. It helped build patience with acquiring information, logical, sequential thinking gained from reading ideas, critical analysis, and inner reflection. But in contrast, what's happening today with the internet is that reading has turned into superficial scanning. You're constantly skimming headlines very quickly. You're always clicking on various links to read more, always rushing, and you lack the patience to read at a slower, focused pace. You read very brief snippets and constantly jump between windows. So, you find yourself reading something, then opening another thing, and another, and so on. You always have multiple windows or tabs open in your browser and can't concentrate on just one. The author explains that a major problem is that digital texts are always filled with links, ads, and many distractions. This drastically reduces a person's comprehension and retention compared to printed books or simple paper texts. This massive change in reading habits makes it difficult for people to stay focused for extended periods. It's almost impossible to read a book for a long time if you're used to reading content online. And if that's your main way of acquiring information, this shift also leads to extreme boredom with anything remotely complex. Eventually, people abandon books in favor of quick content. Even the long videos we produce on this channel aren't suitable for most viewers who prefer extremely short videos. The author warns at the end of this section that the problem isn't just about losing information. It's about losing an entire form of thinking, the deep human thought process. Multitasking and attention fragmentation. There's a very common term we all hear these days, even if we don't believe in it. We practice it constantly because of the environment we live in. Multitasking. In today's digital environment, people constantly switch between emails, messages, social media, and keep changing tasks, not once or twice, but dozens of times per minute. One of the biggest issues with this environment is the instant reaction to notifications. The author says that doing all these tasks throughout the day makes you feel like you've been highly productive. But if you look at actual accomplishment, multitasking is a huge illusion. The brain cannot perform two focused tasks at the same time. You can't give full attention to one thing and simultaneously give the same full attention to something else. What the brain actually does is switch rapidly between tasks. This rapid switching leads to four major effects. 1. Weak memory. 2. More frequent mistakes. 3. Increased mental fatigue. 4. Decreased logical reasoning ability. What's happening is that the brain seeks its reward system, dopamine, and the constant distraction becomes an addictive habit. So even if you want to focus, you feel an inner urge for distraction. You crave moving from one thing to another. Over time, this ruins your ability to deeply concentrate, even when you try. You end up stuck in a vicious cycle, always on the edge of distraction. Weak memory and shallow knowledge. To understand how the internet weakens memory, we need to understand how long-term memory is formed. It involves two stages: full concentration on the information, reinforcing that information, and integrating it with prior knowledge. When both steps are met, you build long-term memory. But on the internet, due to fast browsing and constant distraction, you can't focus or reinforce anything. So information stays only in short-term or working memory, and then fades away without being stored long-term. The author adds that the problem worsens when you rely on external memory, Google, Wikipedia, even ChatGPT. These tools reduce your use of internal memory. The result is that modern people know a lot of things superficially. Ask anyone watching this video about a specific fact. They'll give it to you quickly. They might even correct us. But most people only know a fragmented collection of facts. They lack deep understanding and the ability to connect or analyze information. This weak memory leads to a decline in critical and creative thinking, resulting in societies filled with shallow, empty knowledge. The attention economy. The author explains that the theft of attention is an economic strategy used by companies like Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. These companies try to capture your attention for as long as possible while selling your data to advertisers. The more you interact with the content, the more profit these companies make. These platforms are designed to visually stimulate you with constant notifications, which promote addiction. The main solution, according to the author, is to reduce your use of these platforms and replace them with deep reading, which helps you concentrate for longer periods. Historical lessons. The author compares the internet to other past innovations and technological advances. He finds a huge difference. For example, maps changed how people perceive space clocks, changed how people perceive time. The printing press deepened critical thinking and made books accessible, helping certain countries progress significantly. In contrast, the internet doesn't deepen thought or help people learn in new ways. Instead, it encourages shallowness and decline. Though the internet can be useful, it strengthens instant gratification, emotional thinking, and shallow consumption. Older innovations triggered massive cultural and historical shifts, but the internet promotes intellectual regression. The author concludes that societies which lose the ability to think deeply enter a state of cultural stagnation and decline. Solutions and reclaiming focus. Although this episode might sound dark and negative, the author ends with 5 practical solutions to reclaim your brain and recover from digital decay. 1. Schedule offline time. Designate daily or weekly periods where you are completely offline. For example, 1 hour in the morning or after dinner. Use this time for activities that require deep focus, such as reading, learning, writing, or meditation. Turn off your phone or set it to airplane mode, and stay away from digital devices as much as possible. This helps calm the brain and reset deep thinking patterns. 2. Reduce task switching, multitasking. Train yourself to focus on just one task at a time, whether you're studying, working, or even cleaning. Avoid opening multiple apps or tabs while working. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method, 25 minutes of focus plus 5 minutes break, to build concentration skills. Remember, frequent task switching weakens memory and increases mistakes. 3. Minimize digital consumption. Practice digital minimalism, which means using technology only when necessary, not constantly. Delete unnecessary applications and turn off distracting notifications. Set personal rules, like no phone use in the bedroom or during meals. Limit social media browsing to just one set time daily or weekly. 4. Engage in reflective activities. Choose activities that promote mental clarity, such as handwriting, like keeping a journal, walking in nature without headphones, meditation or deep breathing exercises, prayer or quiet spiritual reflection. These activities improve self-awareness and reduce fast, shallow thinking. 5. Teach focus skills in schools. Instead of total reliance on screens and tablets, children should learn how to read long texts and practice patience with complex material exercises to improve focus and attention. Screen-free activities like art, calligraphy, or sports. These skills build a generation capable of deep focus and critical thinking. Remember, your mind is your most valuable asset, and every moment spent distracted takes you one step further from deep thinking and real creativity. The good news? You can get it back. With one simple decision, you start reading, focusing, and thinking again. Nicholas Carr's book, The Shallows, is a powerful wake-up call. Either you control technology, or you let it control you. Let this be your beginning, not your end. Start with just 5 minutes of reading, no distractions. And from there, watch your mind come back to life. If you enjoyed this video, support us with a like and share it with someone who needs it. And subscribe to the channel because what's coming next is even deeper.